So what is the single most powerful force in all of creation? And how can you utilize it to transform and change every single aspect of your life in the single fastest way possible? Hello, my name is Zimmaron, and thank you so much for being here, listening, watching. I'm not going to get into who I am. If you want to find out more about me, click on the links below, join my free Facebook group. I do free live reclaiming sessions, and I help people to realize who they truly are and who they were born to be, and to access that by going within and realizing and having the full experience of their own divinity, and how to do that yourself so that you don't need to rely upon anybody or anyone outside of self for the answers that you're looking for in any area of your life, that the source of who you are already knows. And you can only access that from the inside. Yes, the outside might reflect some of that back to you, but the quickest and fastest way is to align with that. So, what is the most powerful force in all of creation, all of existence? It's pretty simple, and if you've watched a lot of my other content, you'll probably already guess what I'm going to say. It's love. Love is the single most powerful force in all of creation. There is nothing more powerful, and there is no faster way to deconstruct your whole entire reality and be able to rebuild it and to align with who you truly are and who you were born to be. There's nothing even comes remotely close at all. And this is not some hippie mumbo jumbo, funny sort of spiritual new agey type of concept at all. It's just plain fact. So let me explain a few things here. Science has already shown that we're all interconnected, that we're all one, and that ultimately all of creation is energy. And that energy could be labeled as consciousness, it could be labeled as God, it could be labeled as the quantum field, it could be labeled as many other different labels. It really doesn't matter. But even on the physical plane, right, in the physical 3D reality, we're made up of atoms, and if you break down those atoms, it's all just energy vibrating at a different rate. It's actually all consciousness, and it's actually been labeled now as the quantum field. And we have all these different labels that make people more comfortable based on their belief systems and what the narrative will allow based on which circles you're in. But it's all just love. Now, it's a certain flavor of love, unconditional love. You see, humanity has bastardized what love is, because we have that physical, lustful love that we can experience when we're with a partner or somebody that you feel an attraction for and an affinity with, or your family, or your pets, or whomever. It doesn't really matter. But unconditional love is quite literally the experience of the oneness, of the quantum field, of God. And unconditional love encompasses a lot of, ultimately, it's the ultimate form of peace. It's the ultimate form of joy. And it's the ultimate form of love and that feeling of love. And if you think about it, every single thing that anybody is doing out in the world is in order to have that feeling, in order to create that feeling, in order to manifest that feeling in their lives. Because along with that feeling comes self-acceptance, comes oneness and feeling included and feeling light and accepted and all the different positive emotions. But if you think about every single thing that anybody does, they're doing it for an outcome, and the outcome is always a feeling-based outcome. I'll give you an example. People that want to make a lot of money, it's not the money that they're actually chasing. And you might say, well, no, it's not the money. That what they're chasing is that they want the babes and they want the cars and they want the house and they want this. But that's not what they're chasing either. It's what those things are going to give them and the feeling it's going to give them. Because if you think about it, if having the babe, having the car, having the house or the mansion or whatever made you feel terrible, then you wouldn't create it. You wouldn't want to make it happen, and you wouldn't necessarily want to make any money at all. So they're chasing the feeling. Everyone's chasing the feeling. That's what addiction is. When people are addicted to shopping and buying and all of this, they're pacifying all the things inside of them that doesn't feel good and substituting it for the dopamine hits. And that's why people get addicted to games and cell phone and, all social media and all of that. They're all designed to feed that part of the brain. But ultimately, we're all chasing love, unconditional love. We're all chasing the experience of the oneness of your true self, of your divinity, your true essence. And if you think about it in these terms as well, when you were a child, or you look at any child, look at them. They're in peace. They're not encumbered by belief systems and judgments and negative conditioning, and they don't have preferences, and they don't have all these things that have been programmed into us. They just love, unconditional love. And then more and more, as they receive conditional love from their parents or primary caregivers, and then through society and so forth, by the age of 7, 8, or 9, most all of the conditioning and the programming has already taken place. And when you start then looking at the world through those lenses and those filters of all of those conditions and programs and self-negatives that will have come as a result of that, then you start manifesting more of that in your life, and then it just gets reinforced more and more because that's the lens you're looking through things at. So how could you not? That's why I tell people I tell my clients, you're not broken, there's nothing wrong with you. And anyone that judges anything that's going on with you, or any of your thoughts, or any of your pains, anything at all, your actions, your anything at all, it's a reflection of them, not a reflection of you. Who cares what other people think? Everyone has skeletons in their closet. Everyone does. Everyone has terrible thoughts sometimes. Everyone has done terrible things in their lives. The question is, what are you going to do about it? What is it going to take for you to love yourself unconditionally? There's a lot of people out there that say that they do love themselves and they do all the self-care stuff and blah, 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 and all of this sort of stuff. And they're convinced themselves that they love themselves unconditionally. Yet at the same time, there are things that they're doing in their lives that reflect the exact opposite. You see, the only way to become all that you truly are and all that you were born to be, and to realize your superhuman nature, and to have the full experience of what this reality truly is by going in. It's by going inwards. There's no other way. Impossible. No other way. The reason why is because it's who you truly are. It's a source of you. And nothing outside of self can ever substitute that. It can help you. It can guide you. And if it's really good, it will show you how you can go inside and work out whatever the limitations are and the things that are holding you back and causing you pain and suffering and feeling like things aren't working and aren't, and that you can't get out of the mouse wheel that you're in and the jail sentence that is inside of your head and your mind. But love is the key. It always has been. When you learn to love the world around you unconditionally, you'll learn to love yourself unconditionally. When you learn to love yourself unconditionally, you'll learn to love every aspect of reality unconditionally as well, because it's all one. It's all you. And that's what I'm saying, that unless you have the experience of your interconnectedness and you can raise your vibration to those higher levels where you can actually have that experience, then you're never truly going to know what is really, really possible. You just won't. There's nothing wrong with that. It always comes down to, what do you want? What do you want to feel? When people, and there's always a few that think that I'm crazy or think that what I say is just out there and it's not practical and you don't know what you're talking about and all of this sort of stuff. I get it, every so often. And I go, okay. All right. You can choose to live however you want. All I know is that what I have in here is all that matters to me. And if I am feeling love, then nothing else matters. And when nothing else matters, that empowers me. That empowers me to take action. It empowers me to do things in the world. And not only that, because I'm raising my vibration to a higher vibrational level, that means I am in tune with a higher dimensional reality that others can't necessarily perceive, right? Depending on where they're at. So I start receiving the higher blessings and the synchronicities and all the things that other people might not, because they're in victim consciousness, or they're in fear, or they don't believe that there's something there for them. Or where they do believe that and think that they believe that, there's all these conditions and limitations on those beliefs. And so therefore, in essence, it's the same as not believing in the first place. And that's because, remember, 99% of your reality is controlled and manipulated by the conditioning that you have inside of you. So you can repeat positive affirmations ongoingly. You can say and affirm and believe and visualize whatever you want, and it ain't going to happen if a certain amount of your unconscious is being worked on at the same time. It's just not going to happen. It won't. Because if there's an incongruency there, it won't happen. And incongruency means if you consciously, let's just say, I'll just use money as an example, you want $1 million, but unconsciously you believe that money is the root of all evil and that it's not possible, then there's no way it's going to happen. And if you even used the best manifestation techniques, right, that all of these influencers and marketing people are putting out there, rub your third eye and sit in this shape and that shape and focus on this and do that and all of that, it'll be slow. It'll take its time. It won't be as fast as it possibly can be. And you know, why make personal development so difficult in the first place, right? When it's actually very simple. Choose love. That's it. Love versus no love, or love versus fear, because fear is not of love. That's it. You have a 50-50% chance of making the right decision, or a higher decision for you and for everyone else in the universe. See, this is the whole point. When you choose love, it's a win-win for everyone. For everyone. Because everything's all one. There is no separation. So if something's good for you and for your highest good, truthfully, then it's automatically the highest good for every single person in all of creation. That's crazy. You can't get it wrong. You can't actually get it wrong. But if you're not going within, then you don't know where to steer the ship. And you're just sort of sailing blindly and going, OMG, we're all one and everything's all love and it's all well and good and I feel great, but nothing's happening in my life. Well, number one is action has to happen. You're in this physical body. You have to put in some effort. You have to follow the guidance and what you receive. You have to take action on what the universe brings to you and draws to you. And you have to remove and continually remove everything that's holding you back, everything that's not of love that's inside of you. And look, it's your choice how far you take it. There's a lot of people in the mindset movement or in the personal development movement or that have done courses or programs and have achieved a lot of success through hypnosis and all of those different things. And they've done self-work. But I'm talking about something way deeper. I'm talking about taking it as far as you possibly can. And not everyone does that. Because most people don't even know how far the rabbit hole truly goes. And that's the reason why so few people walk in true mastery on this planet. That's why there's so few Jesuses, there's so few Buddhas, there's so few different truly illumined beings that have walked on this planet and that do walk on this planet as true unconditional love. Because most people, once they get what they want, they become content. And you cannot accomplish the full spectrum of what this earthly embodiment has to offer you without acknowledging and incorporating the spiritual side of it. Not possible, because your spiritual side is who you truly are. Everything is spiritual. It's not the other way around, like how we perceive it out in the world. Like most people perceive, oh, that's spiritual, or this is spiritual, or if you believe this. No, everything is spiritual, because spirituality and spiritual is the source. It's love, quantum field, consciousness, God, the oneness, energy, light, whatever the terms are. I like to use the word unconditional love because it makes it real and it makes it practical. And it's a feeling, it's a sensation. So the more you fill yourself with love, the more that the non-love inside of you has to come out. And that's the thing that people don't realize. Most people want to suppress the non-love. Most people want to be lazy about it. Most people want the shortcuts. And so what do they create? They create mediocre results, or they create all the material results, but inside they're not happy. They're not fulfilled because everything's still out of balance. Doesn't matter to me, but it should matter to you. And that's the reason why I do what I do. It's the reason why I teach what I teach. There's people out there that that are already successful and have everything that they want in the physical realm, and they want to take the spiritual stuff to the highest possible places that they can. Then I help them with that. And likewise, the opposite. People that are struggling to get what they want, so to speak, and to live their best possible lives and to actually be all that they possibly can be. It's the same end result, right? Then I show them how to do that. Both have the same solution. Go within. But it's not the way it's taught by other people. It's not just meditation. It's meditation, NLP, self-hypnosis. It's the best of it, everything in all of creation wrapped up into one neat and tidy bow of going within and learning how to engage with your higher self, your superconscious self, the correct way. Because it can be very damaging and equally as limiting if you're engaging in the wrong way. As an example, a lot of people, when they pray, firstly, they pray to God, okay, and they see God as this man up in the sky and all of that ridiculousness. But a lot of people, when they pray, they either pray for two reasons. They either want something, and a lot of the times they have zero discernment about what it is that they want, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second, or they pray to make something go away. And once again, zero discernment about the circumstance and situation in their lives. And so what happens is that even if the universe listens and it does go away, or it brings to you what you want, you won't be satisfied. And you'll create a similar situation and circumstance again. And it'll keep happening until eventually you realize the truth and you shift and change whatever it is that you need to. Because most prayer and most manifestation techniques out there are born of victim consciousness, number one, and they're also very much based in the circumstance and situation, not in what is the lesson and getting the lesson of it. Because once you get the lesson of why certain things happen in your life, or what the programming is, or the conditioning, or whatever it is inside of you that is drawing these things into your reality, if that doesn't get addressed, it's going to keep coming back. It's just as simple as that. So the self-work is the only way to do it. And the easiest way to define self-work is to pull out all that is not of love inside of you. Because when you have true unconditional love inside of you, you have access and you're aligned with the quantum field, the oneness, all of creation, all of existence. Because that's who you truly are in the first place. And if that's the source, and that's the experience of the source, and you're now vibrating at that level, at that higher level, and constantly raising your vibration, then of course manifestation is naturally going to happen like that, instantaneously, within the confines of what this physical reality will allow, and within the confines of you asking for the right things, and not things that are not for your highest good or for the highest good of others. You see, there's a level of discernment that comes into it, and that's where the saying, know thyself, comes from. Because if you don't know yourself, you don't even know what's for your highest good, you don't know what's going on internally, and you still think that it's the material outer world that is what is important to focus on, and that is what you're really looking for and wanting, and that's going to give you what you think you need, then you've definitely got it all wrong. And you see, the interesting thing is that when you engage and you raise your vibration and you start pulling all that non-love out, and you start shifting and changing your behavior patterns and start addressing all the things that you need to, it becomes this snowball effect where you just cannot stop it. And it will happen, and it gets easier and easier and faster and faster. And the things in your life will change so dramatically. But you have to make that choice. You have to be willing. And you have to be willing to get uncomfortable. Because if you think about it, in order to change something, you have to change. And any change is usually something that is foreign to what is currently in your reality, meaning that there is a hurdle that you have to jump over. There is a decision that you have to make. There is a level of unknownness to it, a level of discomfort that might be associated with it. And the irony is that we all know this. We all know the truth. We all know what we're meant to be doing. But we project these grandiose things that make it impossible, because all you need to be concerned of is, am I choosing love right now, or am I choosing non-love? And is the loving choice that I'm making right now, is it in alignment with what it is that I want to experience and create and manifest and live in my life right now? That's it. Pretty simple stuff. It's nothing magic. There's nothing magical about it. But most people, to be quite honest, are just lazy. They want the quick fix. They want the pill. And there is none. There is none. And nothing in the physical realm, the outer world, can do it for you. You'll notice that every single time you change and every single time your life improves or whatever else, it's because something inside of you changed or had enough or decided to do something different. So what you want to do is you want to take the baby steps every single day. Just do something small but differently. And that will gain momentum like a snowball effect. And eventually you will, and your life will be completely unrecognizable no matter what circumstance or situation you're in right now. This rule works 100% of the time, every single time, no matter who you are or who you think you are, irrelevant. It's because it's just the natural law of creation. And love is the key to it. Unconditional love. That's the key to it. And here we are making it all so complicated with all these tools and techniques and craziness. Now, having said that, join me in my free Facebook group for free and come to one of my free live reclaiming sessions where I begin the process of really teaching you and connecting you with your higher self and just helping to remove some of the main blocks that are in the way of people having access, and to allow your higher self, your God self, your superconscious self, the quantum field, etc., to start intervening more and more on your behalf in your life. And then, I have courses and programs where I go in depth and teach you how to accelerate everything in your life to the nth degree, to infinite levels. I have live calls. I do one-on-one coaching. I do group coaching. There's different ways if you want it. And if you don't want it, that's fine. Just start implementing what I put in these videos. It's interesting. I released a video called 8 Profound Tools for Transformation. And it's just basic, simple things that you can implement into your daily life to transform your life. And I don't know how many people have watched it, but I bet you that the number of people that are implementing it, that watched it, that are actually implementing it and making a concerted effort to implement those 8 things into their lives is probably very, very few. probably very close to 0%. And yet they're probably spending a lot of money on counseling, a lot of money on medication. They're probably spending a lot of money on courses and programs. They're probably getting stressed out because things aren't working in their lives. They're probably searching all over the internet for the answers, and they're scrolling through their Facebook feeds and looking at all the cool videos and all the cool memes, even if they're spiritual and positive nature, and they're thinking that that stuff is going to help them. And it's because people perpetually believe that there's something wrong with them, and people are perpetually programmed and conditioned to be lazy. And I'm not saying that sometimes it can feel difficult, but I'm telling you now that the most profound ways to transform your life are the most easiest things that you have available to you right now, and doesn't cost you any money. So your choice is to either implement them on your own, or do you become part of a group or a community, or do you find a coach or somebody that can help keep you on track so that you can get those results in your life? And that's up to you. That's always going to be up to you, because there is a period of time that it takes for one's habits and one's programs to be deprogrammed, especially if you're not using the types of tools and techniques that I teach when it comes to communicating with your superconscious self, etc., etc., etc. It's just fact. As a matter of fact, science has shown that it takes about 6 months to rewire your neural pathways, for them to be completely rewired and be permanent. And there are ways to speed it up, because it does happen. There are ways to speed it up. And usually what speeds it up is actually trauma, emotional trauma. That's the reason why when someone has or is traumatized in a negative way, they will have reactions and stuff that happens instantaneously after that event, because immediately the neural pathways changed in order to protect that individual. But there are ways through self-hypnosis, meditation, or going within and doing the tools and techniques which I teach, which are all self-hypnosis. They're all NLP based. They're all spiritual. They're all based in self-communication, self-aware, and getting at the root cause of everything and starting to pull them out from the root, and to be engaging in a way that allows you to create that momentum and to keep going and to get those benefits and have the programming happen and stick.